Metropolitan Museum of Manila welcomes you to the 3D virtual tour of the exhibition in full view, which features over 100 works from the museum's art collection from Fernando Amorsolo to Filipino contemporary artists. By way of a background, the museum opened in 1976 with a mandate to be a venue for showcasing international art. Over the years, the Met shifted its core philosophy to art for all, with a more encompassing and inclusive vision of providing a nationalistic context in the understanding of art and culture for a broader swathe of Filipino audiences. This tour you are about to take is a 3D capture. We are viewing the whole exhibit, which occupies the second floor galleries of the museum. We will be able to move around the spaces in the exhibition area with very intuitive navigation touch controls and buttons. Try out the icons on the lower part of your screen to access the artworks or the dollhouse view. You can scroll your way around while zooming in on anything that catches your eye. The round buttons beside the artworks can be clicked on for a pop up window of the labels of the works or any exhibition notes if available. Let us now start the tour with you while pointing out some notable representative works of artists. We follow a timeline which begins with a portrait of Fernando Amorsolo of a Chinese lady in Cheongsam. This was done in 1959. While Amorsolo is usually recognizable with portraits of young Filipina ladies in their native dresses, Amorsolo would get numerous portrait commissions from visiting dignitaries or men and women from prominent families. This particular portrait, done in Amorsolo's masterful hand, captures the essence, beauty, and elegance of his subject. We enter the first room in this corridor and are greeted with Nena Sagil's series of seismographs. She is one of the country's leading female post war artists who early on would be drawn to the world of abstraction when her mentors in art school would still be painting in the traditional figurative style. Sagil's works are characterized by these active spheres of dots, circles, bubbles, and what look like microorganisms that are swimming in cosmic currents and swirling forms, attesting to the artist's eye for detail and laborious process. Sagil, who moved to Paris in 1956, lived as an expatriate for the rest of her life in the city that nurtured the pioneering artists of the modern movements in Europe. In the middle of the room is a sculpture by national artist Jerry Elizalde Navarro. He was remarkable in being adept in crossing disciplines and excelling from one art form to another. He was a painter, sculptor, poet, gifted writer, graphic designer, and an icon in the local advertising industry. Let us look at his work entitled The Incomplete Man, made out of hardwood, plywood, and mirror. This is a seated, abstracted human form with missing body parts. Most interesting is the mirror plate in place of the facial features that draw viewers to come close and see themselves as a reflection of the incomplete person. On this wall here is Pasita Abad's work done in 1991. Pasita Abad is known for her vivid and rich works in various media: collages, assemblages, prints, paintings, ceramics, and glass. She is, of course, best known for her trapunto painting technique, which involves the stuffing, stitching, and gluing of fabric and fiber to her canvases, thereby creating a three-dimensional intermedia effect. Some may remember her also painting the Alcove Bridge in Singapore, which eventually came to be known as the Bridge of Art. There is a Solomon Sapreed sculpture in this gallery. It takes inspiration from the Philippine mythology. This red tikbalang chair, 1995, is a sculptured seat in the shape of the mythical creature of Philippine lore, half horse, half man, with elongated extremities. Sapreed's tikbalang chair is regally garbed with a gold metal sheath on the right shoulder and a gold band on the left arm, with one hand holding a red and gold scepter. Moving out of the second gallery and out in the hallway again, we come across an early painting and very charming work of Claude Tayag called La Macarena, Holy Week in Sevilla, Spain. It is a top scene view capturing the frenzy, the crowds of people which we probably won't be seeing for a while, and the heightened emotions of the day. Tayag is known for his impressionist landscapes, his wood sculptures, and his gastronomic adventures. We now enter the third gallery and are transfixed to a mural painting by Imelda Cahipe and Daya dated 1993. This triptych, entitled Pasyong Bayan, lays bare a nation in grief as it suffers oppression and human rights violation. The artist is a passionate advocate of social justice, gender equality, and the environment. In the adjacent alcove, there is a portrait done by national artist for visual arts Benedicto Cabrera, or Ben Cab as we all know him. This particular painting is based on the tragic story of Flor Contemplacion, a Filipina migrant worker in Singapore who was tried and executed in 1995 for allegedly murdering fellow Filipino worker and her young ward. The story filled the front pages of the media at that time with a public outcry for a fair trial. Next to Ben Cap's painting is a work by Charlie Ko entitled Death. Ko is a Bacolod based artist who is a satirist and a social activist with a lot to say in this work about the ruthlessness of business and commerce making money at all cost. Towards the end of this room is Emmanuel Garibay's oil on canvas entitled Basketball. Garibay is one of the social realist painters who found expression in compelling social iconography in the 70s. In this work, Garibay paints a densely populated poor neighborhood, foregrounded by an able bodied basketball player juxtaposed with a mother and child on the lower left hand side of the painting. The main action seems to be the ongoing basketball game of two players, but in the midst of so many other characters going about their own lives in the crowd. We also note that this entire scene seems to take place in a lower kind of geological strata, with city buildings and structures rising on the upper section of the painting. We now cross the corridor to the opposite side of the second floor area. We have a showstopper here, an abstract piece by Laulian Ben entitled Liquid Light. It is one of many pieces that highlight the museum's expanding collection of abstract works. We are particularly drawn to this piece, with a black textured background that seems to break apart with a white streak of energy that almost cracks open the middle of the painting. And down the hall is another mural bursting with bright colors. This is a painting by Phyllis Saballero, which she entitled A Woman's Life in Six Acts. It is made up of 6 panels of canvases arranged as a continuous story of feminist abstraction. According to Phyllis, the painting represents a woman's life journey and experience with much strength and effervescence. Phyllis is a 1978 awardee of the CCP 13 Artist Program. In this same hallway of abstract painters, we have an early artwork by Romulo Olazo entitled Permutations. It creates a rhythmic arrangement of connected shapes drawn in stark white lines against a black background. Olazo would use this similar technique and outline in creating his future diaphanous series. Conceptual artist Gerard Tan gives us a fitting close to our tour. The title of this work is The End. It is a signal of completion, of going no further, with a stanchion rope and posts seen in the painting itself. The viewer is stopped in front of the work by an actual set of rope stanchions mimicking the image you see in the painting. This entire installation by Jerry Tan was borrowed at the inaugural opening of the National Gallery of Singapore. Our idea of this tour, however, is to allow you to continue and explore many more of the pieces in this collection. We invite you to access this 3D virtual tour on your own and at your leisure. Please feel free to wander around virtually and look for the link we will provide you at the end of this session. Thank you.